Hello, everyone. So today we got to play Discworld.
Ankh-Morpork. There's several Discworlds, so this one is Ankh-Morpork.
Okay. It is a card-based game, and with a little bit of area control.
It's got some area
A
control.
lot
It's
of
got
area
some
control.
hidden roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a few things going on for it. So basically, you are a crime lord.
Ankh-Morpork is the largest, smelliest, and most interesting city in Discworld. The city's patrician, Lord Vetinari, has disappeared. That's actually who I was in the game. And the citizens are calling out for firm leadership. Will one of the noble families take control of the city, or will people welcome the return of the king to restore peace?
So noble, criminal family, all the same. So,
But based off of the Discworld, and if you're familiar with that, it's a classic series of fantasy comedy books by British author Terry Pratchett. And one of my dearest stories reading as a kid, I read most of the Discworld books. I own them. They're hilarious and they're great fun.
I have not read any of them. So, but with that being said, let's get into quality of pieces. So we have a lot of wooden components as well as a player board and card. How was the card quality, guys?
It's okay. It's not real texture, no linen finish or anything, but it's got a solid.
I
they're
think
solid cards.
it's a 2011 game, so I think for being a 2011 game, it's probably pretty good quality, really.
Yeah.
Because I could, that wasn't something that they really looked at. I think back then was high quality cards. So I think it's pretty good for the year it came out.
And then the wooden pieces are, they are shaped differently than your standard meeples, but they are very wood.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the vibrant, bright blue, green, red, and yellow, the standards from most of the games, and then you've got a few that are like the demons that are here, and then the ogres that are shaped differently.
I got them over here.
So, I mean, they did take a little care. I'm thinking it's probably more like a 6. The board's okay. It's not a great board either. It's a decent quality, but not great. You know, I'd think it's about a 6. I mean, it's slightly better than what you get with Catan.
I agree. I think a 6 is adequate.
6. That sounds good to all of us. So let's then move on to theme. I don't know much about this theme because I've not read the book, so...
It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. It's very British, so a lot of it's dry that some people may or may not be able to appreciate. But I thought the cards were, for the most part, hilarious. I mean, I got like one of the best cards I played was Hello, which was a picture of death that I got to assassinate 2 of the minions on the board.
Yeah.
So it's just it feels like Discworld. So
yeah, I mean
the art's fantastic.
There's a lot of character references from the various books that I saw, and there's some. I haven't read hardly any of his stuff because I like chapters, and he does not put chapters in his books, and it drives me crazy. But I've tried to read a few. I'm a big Douglas Adams fan, but Terry Pratchett I just can't get into because of that. But from what I've seen and read of it, I can recognize several of the characters, which was fun.
Rincewind is in it, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, give it a number.
For me, because I do like the book so much, so I'm probably a little bit biased, but I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. What about you?
I was actually going to go a little higher than 7. I mean,
I could go an 8.
I was thinking an 8.
I could go
because of the fact that, well, first of all, the fact that, one, we know it's a very sought-after game.
Yes.
This is not in print, by the way.
I'll go over that here in just a second.
But yeah, this is what a lot of people consider a grail game. I picked it up because I knew of Terry Pratchett and was a fan of some of his, the humor style anyway, not the reading, but the style of his humor. So I picked it up.
And it's designed by Martin Wallace.
And it sat on the shelf until tonight,
right.
So we finally got to play it.
This is the first time you played this game?
Yes.
I have a grail game. Didn't even play it.
Yep.
We got a grail game downstairs.
I've got lots of grail
shrink
games.
That he'll never open. So.
Well, but it's in shrink. Now that seems.
But anyway,
that seems legit. All right. So 8. Sure.
You want to give it a sure?
I mean, that's cool. Here's what I gotta say: is even not knowing anything about Discworld or anything like that, there was a lot of tongue in cheek, and it was cute. You do know that you're in a noble family. Are you sure it's not crime families? Because
No,
there's a lot of killing, a lot of bribery, and a lot of
that's Ankh-Morpork,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's what the town's like. It's a lot of stab in the back and
that's
that
what
type of stuff.
you know. So yeah, I mean it was fun, and it definitely stuck with the theme. So I agree with you guys on the 8. Just the mere fact of that it brought you to a world. I didn't know the world, but it was there.
Yeah. I will say, the art's not super interesting. So
I thought the art's great on the cards.
The board's
Look
okay.
at your rule book looks great. And
Yeah, the rule book's fine. We haven't talked about the rule book.
right, but I think the
The
art on the cards
were okay.
are really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could have been a little more colorful. But as far as the board, the board is the big thing, and these. I mean, I would like to definitely seen better on the components, but we talked about that a lot in quality, or at least a little bit in quality. But it didn't exude what Discworld as much as I would like to have.
But I think that if we take into consideration this came out in 2011, when they really didn't look at that. I mean, really, your war games were the only ones that had the really detailed pieces. So I think anything before that. So the Euro games really weren't designed like that back then. So I think if you take that into consideration, it's nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to rules. Randy, this one's all you.
Yeah. So the rule book, first of all, I appreciate the fact that it was only 8 pages long. It was refreshing, because usually you get the rule books out nowadays, it's like 20 pages,
right.
And so the only problem with that is the counter to that is when you look at it, think, oh, there's not going to be anything to this game. There wasn't a lot to the game as far as the play, but the rules are super simple to read. It's really well laid out. They got the components pictured all on there. You've got how to set up the game. The gameplay is so rudimentary, you don't really need a whole lot of explanation, but they went into each of the different actions you get on your icons in detail with the pictures of the icons, and then how the game ends, and then they have a frequently asked questions page, which is nice, and then all of the random events are detailed on the back. But most importantly are these cheat sheets. These are really well done.
Yeah.
They have all of the iconography on the back of it, exactly how I've always asked for games to have. And then the front of it has all the personality cards, which is key to this game. When we get into gameplay, we'll go over that. And then the city areas, it kind of has a little bit of a story, or no, actually it's the buildings. It's the descriptions of the buildings. So it's everything you need to play the game, all on the cheat sheet. And so I'm going to give this one a 10 because of how well they did that. I don't give rules a 10 lightly at all, but I think they've done everything that I asked for in a rule book.
I can agree with that, even though I didn't read the rule book, because of this.
Yeah.
Because of this, I had no need to ask Randy to look for the rule book. I can say, even with the cheat sheets, there's been plenty of games where I needed the rule book.
I'm going to go to a 9.5. I forgot one thing that did happen.
Okay.
And it's not the rules necessarily, it's the cards. The event cards had references to say, it gave you part of what it did and then said, see the rules for the rest of it. I hated that.
Oh, that didn't bother me.
That didn't bother me.
It bothered me. And so I'm only docking it a half point, but I am going to give it a 9.5 because I forgot about that. Because there was no reason it couldn't have detailed that on the card. And instead, you had to look back at the rule book to get the information, which was silly.
I mean, I didn't listen to any of the rules, and I had this, and I was fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to keep it at a 10, just because if you can just use the cheat sheet and never go back to the rule book, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, I'm totally for if I don't have to read the rules and just have the cheat sheet, 100% I'm in, and this was in it for me, so I'm going to keep it as a 10 as well. So, then let's move on to gameplay. So the gameplay is actually pretty straightforward. You play a card, okay,
and do what it says.
And do what it says. Sometimes, depending on the card, you get to play another card. And then after you get done playing all the cards that you're allowed to play, then you refill your hand.
If you
have
below
less
5.
than if you have below 5. and then you move on. That's it. That's it's.
Yeah, that's it. But the reason you do that is you have a goal. You have a private quest that you're trying to accomplish. In essence, it's your person's
The noble that you are.
Your role gives you your in-game condition. And there's, I think, 7 or 8 of them in the deck. There's 7 that you get randomly one picked and sent to you during the beginning of the game. So you've got to mask what your goal is during the game, which is not easy to do. And you try to basically do whatever you can to complete your goal without people sabotaging you. And there is a lot of sabotaging in this game. It is not for the faint of heart. If you get offended by being attacked or don't like
you
attacking
don't want to play
games,
this game.
there is a lot of it. But it didn't feel
right. It's not friendship ending stuff.
It didn't feel like. I mean, I didn't mind getting attacked so much, except for when it happened and happened and happened over and over again on the same thing, and it was against my personal goal every time.
I wonder why we went against your personal goal.
So the fact is, though, is with the lighthearted cards, it counters it. Everything about it counters the fact that it doesn't feel nearly as attacky as a lot of other games do.
Right.
But you're trying to complete your goal, so you're playing cards in the effort to accomplish that goal, and maybe to mask your goal by playing some other cards. And there's also benefits for having like buildings and such. And then if you can't complete your goal by the end of the game, if the deck burns out, you still have a second chance, assuming there's one goal is if the deck burns out, they win, which we had in play. But if you don't have that in play, then you can still win the game based upon what you have on the board and what your possessions
And that's your
are.
area control side of it.
Yeah. Well, even most of these goals are area control.
Right.
So I mean, there's not a lot to this game as far as play, but it feels more strategic than the simple play of it.
Yeah, it's just not complex.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit,
There's a lot of lines.
Yeah, with the attack thing, I did the most damage to me. I mean, I played a card that
But it was all
required-
events that really screwed you over, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I did the most harm to myself by
Yeah.
playing event cards. I didn't realize that the random event count thing was all negative events. I thought you would get a little bit of.
But I think there were other nice benefits to those cards that made you play the random event, though, right?
No, I didn't realize the
Like
random
money
events.
and-
Well, I mean, yeah, there was stuff on them, but I didn't realize the random event was that bad.
Yeah.
So there is that piece of it that I'm like,
Right.
But that's why I say I didn't mind getting attacked so much because I did the worst damage to myself. But overall, I really think it was a fun game, guys. Like, as long as you have people that kind of accept the attack. In this particular instance, the attacking didn't feel so bad to me. I think that was just part of the game, and honestly, I had no idea who was winning, and honestly, I didn't care. It was just a fun little time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's sometimes you kind of need that kind of game, and this definitely fits well with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider this definitely a light game. It's not very difficult to pick up and learn. It looks more complex just from the art and such, but it's not complex at all to play and learn. And the biggest issue is you just can't find it.
Right.
So, Robert, what did you think about it? We haven't heard a lot from you on what you thought of the gameplay.
Well, I thought it's fun. It is really heavily based on luck because it's what card you draw and whether it works towards your goal or not can make or break you. And so if you don't get the right cards, then it's going to be very, very difficult if you're able to at all to be able to win the game. I lucked out because Miranda kept playing cards, allowed her to draw more cards and play more cards. So I think you played more cards than any of us, for the most part anyway. And that was my goal, was just run the deck out. And so the deck runs out, I win the game, and you guys helped me do that, and I appreciate it. Thank you. So
Yeah, we were trying to help you out. I mean,
you
we
know,
really
you
thought.
threw me a bone, and you guys do that every once in a while. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So. But as far as the info, we haven't gone over it yet. So do you want to do that now,
Well,
or do you want to go?
let's get scores done.
So I think overall, I'd give the game an 8 overall.
I think an 8's good. I think an 8 fits well.
I mean, just from the fact of the sheer simplicity of it, I think I'm going to give it a 7. I don't think it's bad. I don't think I think there's a lot of luck, and there's just not I think some of the roles are going to be much harder to
Right.
complete. I mean, yours. I mean, if the deck runs out, which is very likely to happen, given how difficult the other roles are, it's going to happen. It seems to me that one's a little too easy.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. But I mean, the one I had, trying to get that person in 10 out of the 12 areas, and if you have 2 players, it's 11 out of the 12 areas. It's like, this one's just ridiculously hard. I mean, I didn't even get close. I had 7, I think, at my peak. And I was quickly killed off down to 5, and then I think by the end I only had 4 people on the board in total.
Yeah, I think that's because we knew what you had.
Yeah.
Honey. So, what you said?
You
7.
said 7.
We said 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, give us the stats.
So again, this came out in 2011. It's got a rating of 7.2 on Board Game Geek. Designer's Martin Wallace, which is pretty sweet. Art, there's 4 different people that did the art. So we got Peter Dennis, Paul Kidby, Ian Mitchell, and Bernard Pearson. Again, as Randy mentioned, it is out of print, but I did go on to the marketplace and eBay. The cheapest price I found it for on the marketplace is $125.
Yeah.
But eBay, which is where more copies are located, there was only 3 copies on the marketplace.
So there was a re-release of this same mechanics under a new name.
You don't remember what
I
your
don't
name
recall.
is,
I don't
right?
know if you've still got it up where you could look, but it was re-released. It was like last year under a new name.
Okay.
And it's a completely different theme. It's not related to Terry Pratchett at all.
I don't think I do.
But
Well, I got it up, but it doesn't say.
it should say, well, yeah, I thought it was also released or something at the top usually. But yeah, it's definitely been re-released as far as the mechanics go.
Re-implemented by Nancy Narkin.
That's it,
So-
Nancy Narkin. So that came out, I think, last year or the year before. So if you like this game style, you could certainly
Right.
get the game. It just won't be
Won't be.
Terry Pratchett or Discworld, which unfortunately to me takes out most of the fun.
I agree. And so out of print on Board Game, the cheapest price was $125, but on eBay I saw it go as high as $594.
Wow.
Whoa.
So
This is not for sale.
but there you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you had fun with us tonight, and please come back and visit us again. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, don't forget to check out our website, our Facebook group, we're places now. It's so cool.
Yeah.
We're places.
You just gotta remember where they all
Facebook,
are,
we
so.
got, Locals is apparently a big popular one for us.
That one popped out of nowhere. So
So yeah, we're cross country, across the world now.
Ooh.
We're big in Hungary and Japan. We know that.
you're crazy. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.